Carlos Sainz has been an incredible servant to Ferrari. Despite being regarded as second best to Charles Leclerc by the team while he's been there, he has matched the Monegasque's performance time and time again. But when Lewis Hamilton is an option, it's hard to say no, and so the Scudderia will wave goodbye to the Spanish driver at the end of the season. An F1 driver of Carlos Sainz's undeniable quality should have no problem finding a seat for next year at a top team, but despite the most fluid driver market in recent memory, nothing seems to be coming together for him. And so, a shock candidate has come forward as the new favourite to sign him for next season, and no, it isn't Audi. So, let's check it out. Ferrari's decision to let Carlos Sainz leave at the end of his contract was absolutely brutal. He's been excellent for the team, matching Charles Leclerc's performance levels while they've been teammates. They don't offer the same things. Leclerc can produce brilliant speed to put together shockingly fast qualifying laps, but at the same time can make catastrophic errors in pursuit of victory, which cost him dearly. Sainz doesn't have that same single lap ability. He won't outdrive the car and achieve something that shouldn't have been possible, but you can always rely on him to perform come race day. That reliable performance has earned him 2 race wins during a period when Red Bull have looked completely unbeatable. Leclerc has got none in that same time frame, but Charles is the golden boy of Ferrari. He came through their system, and the team still seem to believe that he's the best bet for the future. So when Lewis Hamilton's team came knocking, asking for a life ring to help him from drowning at Mercedes, it was Sainz who got thrown overboard. The Tifosi, Ferrari's fervent fanbase, have never seemed to care for Carlos Sainz in the same way they have Leclerc, and the cover of the Monegasque magazine before this weekend's Monaco Grand Prix showed just that. Despite being the team's only race winner in the last 2 seasons, he's been forgotten 17 races before the end of his contract. Described as disrespectful by fans across F1, that word only scratches the surface. Sainz is an outstanding driver, and in any other era of Formula 1, he would have won many more races and maybe even challenged for titles. Unfortunately, he joined the Scudderia at the lowest ever point, titleless for almost 2 decades now. And with 2 of F1's most dominant drivers ever sitting in 2 of the most dominant teams the sport has ever seen. Perhaps a move away from Ferrari is actually a good thing, but Sainz is deserving of a seat at a top team, and that is looking less and less likely now. There was talk of a return to Red Bull, but with Sergio Perez on the brink of signing a new contract, and Red Bull not wanting to create tension within the team with 2-star drivers, that now isn't going to happen. Mercedes might not look like a top team at the moment, but there is still a chance that they spring back to the fore with the new technical regulations in 2026, and Sainz has been in negotiations with them. However, in Monaco, it's become clear that negotiations between the 2 parties have now completely stalled. It's understood that Sainz has wanted to get a deal with Mercedes signed as quickly as possible, but with Mercedes opting to play the market, potentially to see if Max Verstappen decides to make a sensational switch away from Red Bull, an impasse has been reached in their negotiations. It isn't anything personal against Sainz, it's just if Verstappen does decide to make the move elsewhere, then Mercedes would rather have the 3-time world champion over the 3-time race winner. Mercedes can play patiently because they have Andrea Kimi Antonelli in F2, who could make the step up if worse comes to worse. Or they could always bring Mick Schumacher in for a season if they are completely devoid of options by the time they realise that Verstappen isn't going to join them for any amount of money. After Imola, Mercedes boss Toto Wolff said, "I think Carlos has his place in Formula 1. He is a Ferrari race winner in the last 2 years and someone with huge experience. I think what I said is I'm prepared to compromise in certain decisions and to wait long, how the situation ends out over the summer and into autumn. In George, we have a great driver that is with us and fantastic, and then let's see who is going to be his teammate. But we don't need to take this decision now." Carlos doesn't want to wait and see if Mercedes fail to snag Verstappen though. He's always said that he prefers his contract sorted as soon as possible so he can just focus on his racing. There is the Audi option for him. The German manufacturer will take over the Sauber team in 2026 and are thought to have already offered him a contract, but Sainz clearly isn't excited by their prospects. Perhaps he's seen something in their plans which he isn't impressed by, or he just doesn't want to take a gamble on an unknown team. Despite the temptation of a long-term contract though, Sainz is now in negotiations with another team. The Spaniard has entered talks with Williams about what it can offer as the squad lays out its ambitious targets for the future. The squad already has Alex Albon under contract, and team principal James Vowles is pushing for infrastructure changes that he hopes can help it advance up the grid. Albon extending his contract with the team until at least 2027 was a massive vote of confidence in what James Vowles is doing at Williams. Albon has impressed since his return to F1 and would have had suitors further up the grid, with Mercedes being favourites to replace Hamilton with him. Despite Vowles' history at Mercedes and Williams being a customer, Vowles has made it clear that they are not a testing ground for Mercedes. They won't train Mercedes' young drivers and let them go once they've proven themselves. Vowles wants to take the team back to the peak of F1, to the lofty heights of their storied history, and a driver lineup of Sainz and Albon would be an impressive statement of intent. As Williams attempt to secure the Spaniard on a long-term deal, they have a few things going for them. One of the aces up their sleeve, which could be very attractive to Sainz, is that customer engine deal with Mercedes for 2026. The Silver Arrows absolutely nailed the last regulation change in 2014, and despite their factory team falling apart, Mercedes' high-performance powertrains, who make the engines, is still a force to be reckoned with in F1. The German manufacturer has apparently delivered some early promise with its new power unit design. Sainz suggested in Monaco that his situation is under control and that there is a lot more happening behind the scenes than people suspect, hinting at the Audi offer not being the only option available to him. "Behind the scenes, I know more," he said. "You have the rumors and everything, but don't worry, I'm not going to let slip anything. I'm just going to put all the options on the table and take the right decision. I can just tell you, just once I make my mind up, everything will happen very quickly, and it's all about putting everything together I feel like I need on my next new contract." Clearly, things are happening at Williams. Vowles has had a huge impact on that team since joining, completely overhauling their systems behind the scenes, and that work is showing on track. Their 7th place finish last season was their best result since Felipe Massa drove for the team alongside Lance Stroll in 2017. While this season hasn't been as impressive so far, Alex Albon has been within touching distance of points a number of times. Speaking at last weekend's Imola Grand Prix, Vowles said the team was doing everything to ensure its rate of progress was as fast as possible over the next few years, even if it meant its current performance was not that stellar. "The 2025 car is in the tunnel. It's as simple as that," he said. "And you're doing that to get ahead of yourself in time for actually 2026 and 2027. All the way through, my messaging will continue to be the same. It's not that I don't care about these years before 2026, but I want us to be successful in the future. To do that, I've got to make some pretty harsh decisions in order to transform the organization." With the prospect of a Mercedes seat drying up and the Audi option potentially not as exciting to Sainz as it first seemed, a move to Williams might be his best bet. A lineup of Albon and Sainz for 2025 and beyond would be a huge result for James Vowles and could herald the beginning of a return to force for the 16-time world champions. Can you believe that after everything that has happened, Sainz could end up at Williams next season? And are Mercedes making a massive mistake by not signing him up now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.